And here we go. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Hot Takes. I'm young SHIRO, and this is...
Oh, skeleton lipstick. How are we today, guys?
Oh, shit. Hot Takes. Damn. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Please let us know if it's too loud, too quiet, if you can't hear me, if you can't hear Chris, if you can't hear FM Skyline when he shows up. Yeah, we got some flames.
Look at those flames.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a little...
No expenses spared.
Bro, what do we got a little...
Damn, son.
Whoa, okay. Even that guy showed up. So anyways, yeah, thank you so much for showing up, guys. Thank you, Tech Honors, for rating us from 100p. Thank you for coming, everybody, every loyal viewer, every new viewer, welcome. And also thank you to Indie Advent from Tiger Blood Tapes and Utopia District for recording this and sending me the file after we're done so we can put it on YouTube. So do you want to tell them what Hot Takes is, Chris, to anyone that's new?
Sure. Hot Takes is a show where we discuss some different types of opinions that we have on music, on art, on the process of creating art, on the process of consuming art. And we're not trying to be edgy. We're not trying to hurt feelings. We're actually just trying to take, in the same way that with art is a way of taking reality and turning it on its side to view it a little bit differently. Opinions can be a way of taking things you've learned or known, turning them on their side to see the world a little bit differently.
That's what I'm talking about, man. So today we have a guest, and it's obvious who it is. But my God, if that was as loud for everybody else as it was for me, please let me know. Also, if the music's not loud enough or if we're not loud enough, again, let us know. But before we bring in FM Skyline, we got a couple things for you. Chris has a hot take, and I have a recommendation. So I'll go first if that's cool.
Go for it.
Let's go. All right, so if you guys haven't heard DJ Sabrina the Teenage DJ's newest album, Charmed, or if you were not at the Rosewood event where we had DJ Sabrina the Teenage DJ play, you need to check it out. It's long, but it is not only the best, in my opinion, the best marriage of lo-fi house and vaporwave music, but it is just a damn fun, wild ride. The title track is what I want to talk about. If you guys haven't heard that title track yet, oh my God, I cannot stop listening to it. It's amazing.
Outstanding.
It is bussin', dude. I cannot stop playing it over and over and over. So, if any of you guys are fans of lo-fi house, or if any of you guys are fans of vaporwave, or just sample-based music in general, check out DJ Sabrina the Teenage DJ. I have to actually directly credit that artist for introducing me to lo-fi house. Even though I was a fan of 4 on the Floor music prior to hearing it, that was my gateway drug. So, Charmed, DJ Sabrina the Teenage DJ, hot take time.
All right, hot take time. So, my hot take is going to be, I think that for today, I'm going to talk a little bit about, well, we've had obviously a lot of drama. That I hate using that word too. It's so I don't know. Something about that word just seems very artificial. But either way, we've had a lot of drama in the Vapor Twitter sphere as of recently, and I think it's very important that we all, instead of reacting so much to what people do that maybe make us upset or stir controversy within us, have patience. And then instead of having a knee-jerk reaction and getting terribly angry and wanting to fight against somebody, to just sometimes allow the vitriol to spew from somebody and just let them do it and not take it so seriously and take it with a grain of salt and not let it affect your day and not let it affect the way that you process music or you process the scene or anything like that, or even process the person. Just allow it to happen and ignore it. Twitter, sometimes people get on Twitter and they've had a really hard day or a hard week or something of that nature, and they go on and they expel this tension into that world, and they almost like they people want a fight almost, and to get rid of this anxious energy. And honestly, the best thing to do is to just take a deep breath and relax and not respond to it, and honestly wait for whoever is upsetting you to sort of just calm down, because sometimes they don't mean it. So I think that, a lot of times we like to do an us versus them sort of game. We like to draw lines in the sand. you know, you do it. I mean, not you. I mean, you as in like, the general you, I, we do it, and then the antagonist in our mind does it as well, and lines in the sand get drawn, and this is all, like, Twitter is just, take it with a grain of salt, take everything with a grain of salt, and the more you can learn to have patience, the more you learn to just deal with people and with everybody and everything just so much better. To just not fall into your first reaction when you hear something or experience something you don't like, to not fall into it, and to do your very, very best to understand that everybody is human, and to understand that everybody feels sorrow and everybody feels tension and anxiety, and it's not all about you, or it's not all about them. It's just a general experience, and do your very best to not say things you can't take back, even if the person you're angry with is doing that. You know what I mean? So just don't give into it. Don't give into it. You rise above it. You know what I mean?
There you go.
This is a hot take.
We're all fighting a battle.
And this is a hot take because this is just really, this isn't the standards of operation that we usually use in the internet world, where we're just using, like, we have a certain set of characters to text to get our point across. Try not to be just a point. Be a fully well-rounded person, and rise above this sort of stuff. And this shouldn't be a hot take, but it really is, because it's just people like lines in the sand to be drawn.
Oh yeah.
And we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that.
Pacifism isn't as sexy. But
yeah, pacifism isn't as sexy. But you know what, man? Like, you don't have, just because you're rising above it, that doesn't mean you're a pushover. And that doesn't mean that you're letting people walk. Like, people can. Here's another hot take. People confuse, being peaceful and rising above situations as, like, I don't know, being weak-minded. But it's not, man. It's being strong-hearted. Absolutely,
it's a strength. It's definitely not a weakness.
And like, you can still be strong, and you can still there's different ways to do this than name calling. There's different ways to do this than infighting. And, there's ways to hold yourself as the example and be fucking strong hearted and like, and just unbendable in your fucking peacefulness. And that's fucking being a warrior, dude. Like, that's being fucking strong. Like, you're not going to get your will bent, and you're not going to allow their rage, someone else's rage or anxiety to inflict it upon you. You know what I mean? You're fucking tougher. Ooh. You know what I mean? And they're tougher too. And they just need to realize it. They have that tough. Everyone has it, and they just need to kind of tap into it. And the best thing to do is to be that fucking unbending bridge. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't know. My God, that is a.
Is that all right?
It's getting too hot right now, bro.
I honestly was going to do like a
hot take.
Dude, like, before we started this right now, like, I was ready to do like a hot take about like techno music or something, and I'm like, you know what? Let me throw out the note cards and just let me just go off the cuff here, and I think I like that.
Love it. Well said.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
And that DJ Sabrina album is great.
Dude, it is a long one, but it is worth it. I do have a soft spot for the very first album, Making Magic, because it's more of like a lo-fi house sound. But Charmed is an absolute like banger. You guys gotta hear it if you haven't. Oh man, Equip is here. What's up, Equip? Well, should we bring on our guest or
Kevin? Kevin is probably the sexiest man in Vaporwave now, right? With his all his gains, and his beautiful hair.
Kevin is stupid jacked.
Is he the hunkiest? Let's get, you know what? Before we continue this conversation of who's the hunkiest person in Vaporwave, why don't we bring on a possible candidate for the hunkiest man in Vaporwave right now? Okay.
Damn, who could we possibly be talking about? Oh shit, it might be this guy. What's up, bro?
His name is underneath the TV screen.
We got FM Skyline.
Wait, is he on?
He is on.
Hey!
What's up,
Pete?
man?
What's up, you beautiful man?
What's up? Good to see you guys.
Everybody say hello, and thanks to FM Skyline for joining us. We brought FM Skyline on because obviously he has some very hot music. He has some very hot tastes and just an overall general hot kind of persona, so we couldn't resist. So we need you guys to help us with what we want to talk to FM Skyline about.
All right, so first things first, Wait, did he get to hear? Did Pete get to hear anything I just said? No.
Yeah.
I heard it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, Pete.
Yeah.
First things first. How do you feel about that? If there's something that's bothering you, that's a superficial thing that's kind of bothering you, how do you handle it? Like, what do you do? Where do you put your mind? What do you
mean
do?
On social media or in general?
Why don't we start with social media and then you can do in general? You know what I mean?
I try to keep my stuff like that off social media. I try to just post about music and art I like, but I mean, I tend to every once in a while I'll have some beers and I'll kind of overshare, but that's more my stuff rather than ranting and raving about somebody else's stuff.
Yeah.
Wait, so you make pacifism sexy?
Maybe, I don't know. Hopefully.
There's a hot take in the chat, guys. Shiny Crystal Pistol says it's okay to pirate an artist's music if they're terrible people. What do you guys think about that?
It's okay to pirate an artist's music. I don't know. What by pirate do you mean? Download? You wouldn't download a car or that kind of thing.
I mean, I would see it means like procure the music without supporting the artist.
Yeah. Like steal their music, not pay them.
Let's say
it depends on the situation, like what kind of stealing we mean. I guess I don't know. Like just to download it for free. I mean, yeah, sure. I guess. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I always thought about,
Just make sure you rip it in lossless quality. EA.
I think what I said in a previous cast one time is the fact of the matter is that sometimes if an artist's music moves you, and this is before they do something that really angers you, like for example, I've said this in a previous show I think, but for example, like the Smiths, right? Like, yeah, Morrissey is a complete piece of shit, right? He's horrible. He says horrible things. He's a terrible person, right? But I can't take away what happened to me the first time I listened to the Smiths. Like, I can't undo. I already experienced it. I can't undo how I felt. I'm going to see him live. I'm not going to buy his music, but I can't go back in time now and undo hearing, undo hearing Meet His Murder for the first time. Like, I can't do it. It happened. It's part of me now, and it's my fucking experience. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's mine. My experience with that art is fucking mine, and no one can take that away from me. Not even the piece of shit who made it, because that motherfucker's just a vessel at the end of the day, as I believe most artists are vessels for something bigger than them. And I'm not going to support him. I'm not going to give him my fucking money, but I mean, I cannot listen to this music anymore.
Truth.
Yeah, you can't take it back out of your...
Yeah, man. Also, somebody says, what did they say? This podcast cannot continue without acknowledging Skelly's amazing hair right now.
Is it amazing?
Quiz 0083 says you have amazing hair.
I am getting amazing hair, and I've got my buddy Pete in the chat right now, and my hair's getting complimented.
You have really nice hair. You do have really nice hair.
I just want to know, we talked about the humidity versus like dryness. Does your hair still hold that shape and have that volume in a dry climate? Or is that...
You talking to me or FM?
I'm talking to FM. Like, does the humidity give you life? Or can you keep that voluminous head of hair going on in a drier climate as well?
Yeah, it doesn't change much. It's pretty dense, so it's usually, even if I go like in a pool, it's still kind of...
Oh, holy shit. That's what I really wanted to know, man. Well, we can end the show now. Just kidding.
Speaking of pool, man, I missed that one afternoon that we all got to hang out at the pool with like you and me and surfing and Satin Sheets and Aaron before Electronicon, Pete. That was such a fun time. And they went to the bars.
It was beautiful. Yeah, it was like we were on cloud nine, out there. It was such a great day, and it was just meeting everybody. It was like it's from some other dimension of my life or something at this point,
Oh yeah,
so
right?
But yeah, it was wonderful.
At this point especially, right?
So I got some votes going down in the chat. S for Skelly has best hair. F for FM has best hair. Oh man. No, I is not allowed. I am not an option. It's just S for Skelly or F for FM. I did not get to go to Econ 1, and I'm mad at you guys.
Oh, it was so fun.
I'm happy for you, but I'm also mad.
So you know what I really enjoyed about that? I think it might have even been the same day as the pool. That was when also that night at Baby's All Right, surfing played with our buddy Dennis, right? At 18 Carat Fair.
Man.
And
So jealous.
so what was really fun but let me tell you what was my favorite part of that night was that, okay, so surfing was playing and I was just hanging out, I was doing their merch while they were on stage, and Pete comes up to me. Pete's had a few delicious beers in his system.
Oh,
and
shit.
this was the first time I met Pete, and this day. And then Pete comes up to me, he's a little drunk. He's like, you know what? He's like, when I heard you were a doctor, I was like, oh, what's this guy gonna be like? And then he's like, but you're like the chillest dude, man. And I was like, thank you. I appreciate that. And I was cracking up. And I thought that was adorable. And I was like, yeah, thanks, man. You're fucking chill as fuck too. I love this guy. He's great.
Yeah.
Man, Pete's the best.
You are a sweetheart. That's true.
You're a sweetheart, man. You would have so much fun at T-Chill. I'm so sorry that things got shut down.
Wasn't your set like one of the most... People consistently talk about your set. Like, they always talk about Telepath set and FM Skyline set for Econ.
It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of people up there, and I did have the Manhattan Skyline right behind me, which was fucking insane.
Yeah, man, it was beautiful, and it was one of the first performances of the day too. And it was just beautiful to be outside when you were performing it. You know what I mean? In like the sun, it was just such a vibe, man.
You performed at Econ too as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So which one did you like better? Hot take time.
I can't even
Come on,
compare
man!
that.
Don't give me the diplomatic answer.
I guess the first one, just because it was like the first time it was happening, and it was like, wow, this is the best.
I was
day
really
of my
hoping
life,
you'd say Econ 2. Damn.
Yeah.
Well,
But two was like bigger and better in other ways too, and being in the West Coast and like all of that stuff, and so they were hard.
Was that your first time in LA?
For me, the first one, it was like wow, this is the best day of my life so far, kind of thing.
Oh, that's so cool, man. Was that your first time in LA?
No, I had been out there years ago. My uncle lives out there, so I had seen him. Yeah, but I hadn't been in a long time when I was there for Econ 2.
I love LA, man.
Yeah,
me too.
I love LA too, man. It's a vibe out there. I gotta stop saying the word vibe all the time, but I'm not going to. But it really is. It's just a whole. It's really fun. And the people are not to generalize, but they're different than people on the East Coast. There's a different way of speaking. There's a different way of operating and walking around, and just experiencing life is different. It's not better. It's not worse on one coast or the other. It's just different, and it's very much appreciated. I had a great time in LA, but I want to talk to Pete about stuff. Pete, I have some questions for you. What kind of music were you making before FM Skyline?
I've been around the chart a little bit. I had made a bunch of rock and roll guitar music and songwritery stuff at certain points, but I kind of went through like a jazz and classical phase.
How old were you when you first started deciding that you wanted to start making music? Like, what age did this hit you?
Oh, it's like a really kind of corny answer, but like since I was a little kid, because my dad played instruments, and so I grew up around it and all that stuff.
Really?
No, I've been playing for a long time. But
your dad played instruments. What kind of music was played in the house?
He's like a big folk music nerd, so he listened to a lot of folk and country, but he had a lot of good jazz records, so I think that's where I first heard that stuff. He was really into bebop and Thelonious Monk and stuff like that.
Interesting.
That's pretty sick.
Was the first artist you? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I've had a question I've always wanted to ask him. So, you mentioned in the interview, the aforementioned poolside interview, that when you heard Vaporwave music, thought that it was all original compositions.
Yeah, I was under the impression that a lot of what I was first encountering, and some of it was true,
Right.
But it was like I was like interpreting a lot of the things I was hearing. Like, I guess my brain was saying, I can imagine doing that, is what it was telling me.
The reason I think that's so cool is I did too. Like, not to put the spotlight on myself, but I missed out on a lot of the cultural zeitgeist because of the way I was raised. So when I first heard a lot of Vaporwave, I thought it was original, and a lot of the chill wave with samples, I thought they were doing all that stuff too. And that's kind of influenced your music a little bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, because I just kind of started doing that. I was like, oh, so you make like a R&B tune and you slow it down and put effects on it. So I just started doing it that way.
Nice. So
yeah, it's definitely effective.
I know you had a question for Pete, but real quick, the chat said earlier.
It's helping. You can wait.
Somebody said someone had like a hot take or a question, and they said that FM Skyline is utopian virtual.
It's fun.
Not strictly. I've kind of gone through that, but no, not purely. I mean, I think I kind of started away a little bit, and Lightwear was kind of, my last album was kind of very like a utopian virtual kind of thing, but I think I'm kind of a little bit more. I don't know. I kind of hop around with my thing a little bit, too much for that.
Do you like the obsessive genre tagging? Are you into that, or are you more like anti-genre?
Well, I love like the genre, like, oh, this is MIDI gaze, or like kind of making up like a fun name for whatever I'm working on at the moment is really fun. Right. But I think because I do that so much, it kind of makes me overall not quite a umbrella kind of thing, I guess.
I think that's a great way. I like it when people approach things like that, when they honestly like over name whatever they're doing and they give it a bunch of different names to the point that it almost becomes, well, it is irony, right? And it becomes irony. And then it actually, in my opinion, moves kind of a little bit beyond irony to, being like, yeah, the music I make is just a giant whirlpool of ideas, and concepts. And, what the fuck, I'm sure people are going to try and tell you like, well, utopian virtual is this or that or that. And at the end of the day, it's like, oh no, it's kind of just a feeling, you can't really, you can point to some kind of sonic benchmarks within all these things that we talk about, but it's so much better when you can't, in my opinion. I am a big fan of a genre name where you can't really point to a lot of sonic benchmarks, but when you can point to a way that it makes you feel or a way that it makes you experience something. Do you know what I mean? Am I making sense?
Yes,
right now?
I think so. Because it seems to be a lot of the genre names are just basically based on what the beat sounds like. That
can I do
bothers
a
me
hot
a little
take?
bit. Yes.
Yeah,
please.
I don't like that. Like, for example, I'm really not the biggest fan of names, that genre names that just sort of represent, I don't know, man, like kind of just like that don't have a deeper thing beyond, well, this is like, okay, I'm just going to go out and say it. I'm going to get in trouble, but I don't like the genre name Slushwave.
Oh, no!
It doesn't signify anything to me. I don't like that genre name. I like the bands and the producers that make it, but like, it's just like, oh, because it sounds slushy? Is that it?
Yeah, it seems
that's annoying. That's annoying, man. Like, that's annoying,
man.
Like, I mean,
even though we all know what it sounds like.
Well, I do, but like, I don't know what it means. Like, just telling me that, like, that's kind of annoying.
Exactly.
It's fine. I love
like a dishwasher.
Let's do one thing straight right now. I fucking love Slushwave artists. I just can't stand saying that.
Oh my god.
You don't like saying? Is that one of those words that gives you like a full body cringe, like moist?
Yeah, kind of like moist, like, and I'm just like, but like, what else? Like, come on, like, what else beyond this aside from just like, that sort of like squishy noise? Like, I don't know, man. Like,
did you just say
I appreciate a even a genre name that I appreciate even is like Signal Wave. Like, I appreciate that name. I kind of don't even know what signal means, but you have an idea of what that means. Broken Transmission is kind of a cool name too. You know what I mean? Because it does conjures up ideas in my mind of things beyond just a sound, but like a world. You know what I mean? Like, I like genres that make me think of a whole. I like world building. It's half the reason I think that I like Vaporwave in the first place, was the idea of world building, and not even specific.
Oh yeah, when it gives you like a really specific image in your head.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you guys? Okay, good.
Oh god, all the time, man. And like, I just feel like it's almost I don't really like that name very much, because like, I don't want to just think of slush. I want to think of the world that's being created by the music, not just an onomatopoeia like, or whatever.
FM Skyline's music makes me think
just me. And I know that's a controversial statement, and I'm going to say it one more time. I fucking love people like Desert Sands, Desert Sands Feels Warm at Night, etc., etc. These are fantastic artists who are brilliant producers. just not my favorite name. That's it. That's all. I'm done.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I feel like, well, I mean, so slush wave at this point, it's like, yeah, it's like sometimes you have a hankering for something, and the only thing that it can be is slush wave, right? You know, it's kind of one of those things. It's not. True. It's not attempted. It's not. I don't think it's attempting to be sort of like conceptually rich when you're calling it slush wave. You're just like, you just want to hear that
good mac and cheese.
You just want to fucking get high and go. You know, it's like a mood. Sometimes there's
you're right.
Dance music genres that are like that, you know, where it's just like,
yeah,
I gotta hear some break beats, I gotta hear some jungle, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, that's absolutely perfect. You know, that really is a really good way of putting it, and that definitely puts it in perspective for me when you compare it metaphorically like that. Yeah, that puts it in perspective. Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. That's a really good way of putting it. And also, I sort of want to sample that sound effects you just made right there with the mouth movement, and just kind of use that for something now.
You gotta start
That's
calling
fun.
it Goosh Wave. Craft Wave. Lux is going off. Velveeta Wave.
Let me ask you a question. You know, when I know you grew up with music. I know music was always a big part of your life, but there's always a time when it translates first. Like, you know, when I was growing up, my parents played a lot of music. They didn't play a lot of music, but they played music, or I had the radio on, and I vibed with it. I chilled with it. I liked it a lot. You know, they played classic rock, or they played Tears for Fears, 80s music as well, and I loved it. But it was always their music. You know, I went back and rediscovered these bands on my own, but that was always their music. But there's always a point in our adolescence when all of a sudden it's no longer our parents' music. It's no longer our parents' influence anymore, but there's something that we discover on our own and we really connect with. And like, that's really when the journey truly begins, right? That's when the musical journey truly begins, is when we find something that we connect with that we didn't even learn from our parents, right? Can I ask you, what were some of the first artists that you kind of were like, oh, this is mine? You know what I mean? Like, I'm starting my music journey now.
Probably Nirvana.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, you know, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great example.
Nirvana. Nirvana and Stone Temple Pilots and all that stuff was probably, I don't know, because I guess that music was like, it's supposed to feel that way. Generationally anyways, right, at that time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you know, you're like the same age as I am.
Era.
In other words, I don't know if my first cassette being like Billy Idol Shock to the System counts, if that was, you know, like, if that was really my identity.
That was your first cassette?
Yeah.
That's cool,
I think
man.
You know, I was like 4 or something, so it's not like I'm free, I'm an individual now, you know.
I think that my first cassette, like, that I bought myself, like, I remember my first 2 cassettes that I bought myself that were like, yeah, this is like mine, was like Green Jelly's album and Serial Killer soundtrack and the Last Action Hero soundtrack. I think nice. I bought those were like the first, those were like mine, and I remember like going through those tapes and like memorizing the songs on it, memorizing the artist names on it, and then eventually, like, you know, outgrowing it and moving on to Nirvana, you know what I mean? Yeah. And moving on to you know, that was an interesting time period back then, right? That was popular music. That was like Nirvana and Alice in Chains, and these bands this was the popular music. That was weird.
I remember a friend of mine had, like, he got a hold of like a Stone Temple Pilots cassette, and we like went over his house, and like our parents were at work, and like there's a one song, he was like, I wanna fuck, and he was like, oh, he said fuck, oh my god, you know, it was like,
yeah,
that's funny.
Dude, like the first time I listened to like The Offspring's Bad Habit, and there's like, you stupid goddamn son, motherfucker, like, you know, like, I remember that being like, oh man, I can't play this for my parents. This ain't my parents rock and roll no more.
Oh man. See, and I got raised in a fundamentalist Christian household, so I got to listen to Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith my whole life. They got
revelation
some
that must have been for you when you, like, yeah, this is true. Did you know this, Pete? That, like, yeah, this is how, like, Isaac, like, this was his experience growing up. Can you imagine experiencing music for the first time, really, truly, when you're like 18 and you can really appreciate it, you know, completely?
It was weird, man.
That's kind of an odd thing,
like,
right?
Sometimes when I'm talking with people, they'll reference like a really well-known song or a popular film or TV show, and I'm just like, I got nothing, man. You're gonna have to help me out, and I have a bad memory too, so it's like, oh, it's the worst.
You would never know that by talking to you, though, Isaac.
Oh, you're too kind.
Well, because like, what's really funny with you is that, like, you went from 0 to like 60 real fast. Like, you didn't really listen to any music, and then all of a sudden you were connecting with shoegazer.
Oh, dude, dude. Okay, so before like the
Talk about
whole
shoegaze.
chill wave
That
and
might be fun.
synth wave and vaporwave movement. I thought I would be a shoegazer forever, man. By the way, did you guys hear about My Bloody Valentine?
The new thing, yeah.
Yeah, apparently they've
saw
got
the
something
preview.
cool coming
I
out.
just saw some kind of tweet or something just an hour ago.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what it was. Yeah.
Lux told me all
Yeah,
about it. I was
yeah.
like, oh, damn, that's going to be exciting, whatever that is. So,
Yeah. Shoegaze, I just really feel like, that has a lot of influence on a lot of the people who got into Vaporwave, in my opinion. I'm sure, I mean, Pete, I think I've even talked to you about this before, that, Shoegazer, let's talk about, and I've talked to you about this before, where like that time period between like, in the mid 2000s when like shit started becoming kind of stale, and then we're like, oh, I don't know what to listen to anymore. Like I was listening to like early 2000s indie, and before that I was listening to like, hardcore and punk and like, the mid, the 90s emo and all that stuff. And then like I moved on to this, and then like you hit the 2000s, and then you're like 5 and you're like, I don't know what to listen to with like rock music anymore. Like this is like, what do I have? Like, this stuff is so polished now, like shiny toy guns. Like this is like straightforward, like fucking like indie rock has been like co-opted by like iPod commercials. And like everybody just wants to make music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I remember like turning to Shoegazer, and I remember turning to, whatever was going on in France with the dance music, right? And I remember turning to, turning to like Boards of Canada and this stuff as well.
yeah.
And I do feel like a lot of these similar influences, like all that stuff sort of pulled itself together, and like the Vaporwave scene was sort of like, burst out of that. That, and like after seeing the Chillwave people, right? That's like, Vaporwave scene bursts out of those 4 things, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. I wasn't really aware of that sort of when it was happening, but yeah, I kind of experienced that same thing where it was the iPod rock, but then getting into like shoegaze and all the post rock stuff. And,
dude, I was a huge post rock fan. What are your who are your favorite post rock acts? Let's go.
I think I'm not sure how many I listened to, but yeah, I was really into like Explosions in the Sky,
Oh, holy shit. Hey, crazy story. I met the guy that did the artwork for the cover of, what's the second album with the plane where they got in trouble for like 9/11? Because people thought it was like those who tell the truth shall live forever, those who tell the truth shall die. I met the person that did the cover art for that. Crazy.
Oh man, I see DS dude talking about Jeff Rose. I don't know where Jeff Rosenstock, why it was mentioned in the chat, but man, that guy's amazing. If you can ever see Jeff Rosenstock live, that guy is carrying, the reason people are can still even be excited about punk. Honestly, that guy, I think he's one of the big reasons why. I'm always amazed to see how many younger people are like super into Jeff Rosenstock, and that's just such a cool thing because that guy's amazing. And he's a really fun guy to see live. So just a shout out to Jeff Rosenstock. And if you're not listening to him, go listen to him. But more importantly, if you can see him live, like that's an energetic performance. Or listen to him or Bomb the Record Industry.
I have never heard him. Right? Can you recommend a favorite
he's fantastic.
To the audience and to me?
Too fucking hard. But if someone else wants to do that, that's great. I can't decide, man, right now.
Telling you, man.
I'll send you stuff later.
Please do. Or if anyone in the chat.
What I want to ask FM Skyline a question too is, go ahead to chat. Sorry, Isaac.
No. Chat, recommend me a Jeff Rosenstock song. Go ahead.
Yeah, please do. DS dude, you could help with that maybe. You know what, Pete? I have a question. What were you when you were growing up? Did you have like a punk rock phase? Since you're around the same age as me, did you have like a punk phase? Did you go? I know you had like a hardcore phase or anything like that.
I think like I was like a little too suburban or something, so I didn't really get into like punk until I was a little bit out of high school, and I just sort of discovered all like the early stuff and went through all like Minutemen and all that stuff. But I kind of was just really suburban until I was like 18 or so. Besides, then I found out about like the hardcore emo thing, which was really big in South Jersey.
Yeah, you were from South Jersey.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. I'm from South Jersey too, right?
Damn,
I don't know.
I feel so left out.
Did we not ever talk about this?
I don't know. Well, I used to live in Philly, so we talked about that. But yeah,
but
in Arlington County. So
go ahead. You were saying though, you never. Wait, you were in South Jersey. You never came to Philly to see shows?
Oh yeah, we started to. Yeah, in high school, we used to go to. What was that place on Lancaster? We used to see.
The Kill Time.
Kill Time, yeah.
Yeah, the Kill Time.
Dude, I want to move to
Yeah,
Philly so bad.
I caught wind of that sort of like towards the end of high school, I guess, was my sort of punk rock phase. To me, it was kind of just like fun, like heavy guitar energy stuff. The shows were fun, you know.
Where'd you go to high school in South Jersey?
Palmyra High School.
Oh, okay. I went to Lenape. Interesting.
Yeah, okay.
I have a question
Yeah,
for
I had-
FM Skyline.
Lenape.
Favorite concert you've been to?
Oh yeah.
Most
That's
memorable
good.
moment at a show of all time as an attendee.
An attendee.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a Radiohead right after Hail to the Thief was a pretty amazing.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Pretty amazing experience.
That's my favorite
Definitely
Radiohead album.
Crying for Exit Music, and it was a really good concert.
Damn.
One that sticks out.
That's hard to top, man.
Yeah, it was great. It was really fun.
Hmm.
I saw Tame Impala with Flaming Lips like 4 or
wow.
5 years ago. It was really fun. One of those, I guess.
What does music do for you? What making it? What was it? What do you get? Wait, did I lose FM? Are we hearing him talk?
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
There's a
What do
small
you-
delay, but it's no
Can you
big
hear me?
deal.
Do you feel like you've just been? I mean, I know you've been raised with music, so do you just feel like you've been drawn to it almost your whole life? You just had to do it.
Yeah.
This was the thing that you couldn't.
Yeah.
You couldn't not do.
I mean, I've been obsessed with making it and listening to it through so many shitty jobs and everything. There's just no way I would ever be doing or caring about anything else at this point.
You had shitty jobs prior to your current job where you do work with music, and also your other current job where you professionally make amazing music. So you had times where you put it away, or did you always just do it?
Well, I mean, I was like working shitty jobs. You know, I was working in Philly at like an architectural salvage company where we would go to like old dilapidated schools and churches and pull all the wood out so we could like sell it. And I was like learning piano, and we would like go to an old church and there'd be a piano, and I'd be like, oh, sick, you know. I was always
So
kind of
you
that stuff.
Wow. So you were like practicing piano in these on these like in a job where you would be tearing apart a building.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, cool,
That's
piano.
crazy,
You'd be
bro.
practicing in between doing this job. You would start teaching yourself piano. That's pretty fucking cool, man. That's a very romantic vision for me to have in my mind of you doing that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
FM Skyline,
Yeah.
Equip has a question for you. What is your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Oh, I drink beer. I drink beer. I try to stay away from liquor these days.
Damn.
I'm sorry, Kevin. I don't have a more interesting answer. I'm drinking Stella tonight.
Did you think that you would always, be able to have people hear your music, like that you'd find an avenue for people to hear it, that you'd find an audience for it? Did it ever, or before you became FM Skyline, was this like, was there a time when you were like, I don't know, I mean, maybe no one will ever hear my music. Maybe I'm not going to be able to figure out, what my sound is or what my voice is with music. Did you ever think like that, or did you think you'd find it eventually?
Millions of times, and I definitely would never have expected to become FM Skyline like years ago or something.
Really?
Like 10 years ago or something like. Yeah, I would have never. It just kind of. Well, Vaporwave was, I found that stuff and it resonated with me. And there's so many great artists, and it's like, it was just a perfect fit. But no, of course, every time when I started learning to write music, I was like, oh, this sounds stupid. It's never gonna happen. Like I just wasn't made for it,
Wow.
And you just have to work through all that shit.
You have to work through it. It's such good advice, right? Like everybody feels that way, I think, at some point.
Yeah.
Right?
I think there's a big thing that affects people who want to be creative, that there's this mythology about like, the immaculate conception of art, and it's like, he picked up a guitar, and the next thing you knew, it's yesterday. It doesn't work like that.
I see that in movies all the time.
Yeah. It doesn't work like that. It
Doesn't work like that. People think that people like watch, like, do you ever watch these terrible fucking like biopic movies? Like, you ever watch like that fucking terrible Queen movie where he's just like sitting at the piano, he's like, I see a little silhouette of Skyline. Like, he's like, oh, I've got it. Bohemian Rhapsody is written. Like, fuck you. That's not how that worked. Go to fucking fuck you. That's not what happened. That fucking scene never happened. That motherfucker did like a 3-minute version of that song, and like it sounded completely different, and it sucked. And he's like, fuck it. He threw it out, and then he went back to it and tried it again. Like months later, like was able to get something down. People watch these stupid fucking movies where like an artist is just like, I've got it. Like, and they're like, it's like bullshit, man. Here's a hot take. Every biopic about an artist sucks. They're all horrible. I've never seen one that was good. They're stupid. They're all terrible, man.
Oh my god.
They're really bad.
Even bordering on
they are
on
absolutely corny as hell.
The aspiring artist.
Yeah, man, I agree with FM, right? I agree with Pete right there. Maybe even bordering on that, man. Because like what you just said, when you started learning to make music, you started doing it and you're like, fuck. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm never going to get it. And maybe I'm never going to figure it out. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people feel that way. And I feel like it's nice for them and everybody to just hear that, like, you know, we go through this shit. Everybody goes through this shit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, people don't want to hear that, like, hard work and time and practice is what makes you good. You know? They want to think you're a savant or you just wake up with a gift.
And it's also hard because to be like, you've got to work hard, you know, it's like, that's not really, it doesn't sound fun and it doesn't look cool either, but it is kind of how it is though, you know, you've got to keep, you know, I've been through so many incarnations of my creative stuff and this one works the best.
What were the other incarnations like?
I even halfway through every album, I hate it at some point, you know?
Damn.
Oh man, we all go through that, right? No, because here's the thing. Hold on, let me say. Okay, the Doors movie is pretty cool, but that's like a little bit more impressionistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm all right with the Doors movie. That's different. Yeah. Okay. But anyhow, what was it? We were just talking about. Yeah, no, that's the thing is that, you know, when you're an artist and you write a song and it's actually almost really tough once you've kind of discovered your artistic voice, right? Because it's almost like once you discover your artistic voice and you're really pleased with what you're doing and this feels like you, it's like, shit, everything counts now. Like, everything counts. It didn't count before when I didn't know what my voice was. I was just writing to learn and I was going to put out anything and see what stuck. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this sounds like me. This feels like me. This music I'm making is me. And like, oh shit. Well, oh fuck. Am I working on my legacy now? And I didn't even, oh fuck. Well, this better be good. So, you know, it really, you know, you put out an album and like you're worried. You have to make music that you're going to still want to listen to in 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, you have to write songs that you want to continue to listen to. And so, yeah, you know, sometimes you make music before that and you're like, you just hate it. Or you listen to it and you hate it halfway through, or you learn new things. And so you hate the old stuff because now you know more. You know what I mean? And but I do think, back to my original point, that like when you find your voice, it sort of like adds a whole new dimension of difficulty to how you make music, when you release music, you know, how much care you put into it, right? I don't know. What do you think, Pete?
Yeah, I've definitely experienced that recently, but I think it's important you have to sort of find that kind of like, for me, it's like sort of this like feeling like a hyper kid or something, just kind of running around like, oh, this is fun, you know, like just, this idea is fun. Let me like finish this idea. Like,
that's
this is
cool,
fun,
though. And
like finish it, and then like not get kind of mired up in thinking about, is this right? And like I always have to push through, like with writing like enough of tunes when I'm trying to start a new album that it's like I can kind of move things around and be like, okay, where's the picture here?
I'm gonna kill in real for what he just said. I have a question.
Yeah, where's the picture
Pete,
here? That's a good way of putting it.
Pete, I want to know what your least favorite music of all time is.
My least favorite music of all time?
Yeah, describe your least favorite music.
Oh, I don't know.
I thought it was a fun question.
I feel like this is. I feel like when I know. It's just funny that I can't think about it right now.
There's not a type of music that like they're
like,
not allowed to put on the aux cord when they're in the car. You'll kick them right out.
I'm certainly not. I'm not trying to listen to Fish
Trying to listen to Fish.
I'm not trying to listen to
No
Fish.
love for
trying to
jam
listen to
bands in here.
Sometimes what it comes down to is it's like with Fish, for example. I'm not trying to listen to Fish either. And also, I'm not even trying to pass judgments on Fish, right? Fish might be great. Fish might be really good.
It's okay. It's okay. I don't want
it's
to.
probably not going to speak to me. Do you know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
When you listen to music, sometimes you're making a choice. You're making a choice against the whole history of music, right? And you only have so much life, and you have so much hours in the day. And it's like, do I want to spend a lot of it listening to a full Fish album? Probably not. You know what I mean? Because it's probably, I'm not going to. Now, someone else will really cherish listening to a lot of Fish albums in a day, and that speaks to them. And and there might be a band that comes along that's like Fish, and they might not know that band, but they know what that band's about, so they're gonna listen to that as well. And it's like, well, I know what Fish is about for the most part, so I'm not gonna go out of my way to listen to it. You know what I mean? It's not probably gonna speak to me, and I'm not trying to be closed-minded, but I am also aware that my time is valuable. You know what I mean? My artistic energy to process shit is valuable too.
So I'm hearing from the chat, Maroon 5. Sorry to talk over you, Pete. Maroon 5, Green Day, and car insurance commercial music.
I have to pick one? Is this fuck, marry,
No,
kill?
these are responses from the chat. Fuck, marry, kill. Yes.
I would
fuck, marry, kill.
Let's do that.
Maroon
Can we do
5.
Fuck, marry, kill with it?
Fuck, marry,
Yes.
kill. Maroon 5, car insurance commercial music, and Green Day.
Oh,
I know the answer to this, but go ahead.
probably fuck Maroon 5, marry Green Day, and kill car insurance music.
Yeah, that's actually really good. God, we need to use that in future episodes.
I'm going to kill Maroon 5 for sure. That is worthless, right? That is pointless. I am going to fuck car insurance music because that is fun and ironic. And
That's what I was gonna say.
Out of that. And I'm going to marry Green Day because motherfucker, you don't have to listen to Green Day, but there is like no precedent for Green Day. Okay,
They're committed.
FYI, there was no precedent for that band. That band was made to play in basements in like, where are they from? They're from the East Bay, right? They were designed to play basement shows in the East Bay, and somehow they play stadium shows and have like a fucking like musical and shit. Like, there's no roadmap. That's never been done. There's no band that they can follow that played pop punk music like that. Not even the Clash, not even the Sex Pistols, not even the Ramones that like can follow that. Dude, they don't have a precedent. There's only two bands from that whole world of 90s pop punk that elevated themselves to that level, and it's like them and Blink-182. And Blink-182 is fucking floundering, but Green Day has the same band members, the same level of success. I don't think the albums are probably as great anymore, but they're still fucking making them. They're still doing shows. They still seem like pretty decent people for the most part when I see them in interviews, or like I watched an East Bay documentary recently, and they seem like pretty decent people. They give credit where credit's due, but like, Lord knows what the fuck's going on with the Blink-182 people, right? They've all gone nuts for the most part. And like, it's like, because they're playing in these bands that's like three dudes playing guitars, and they're like, both those bands happen to be pretty good songwriters. They happen to be able to both write really good hooks. And it catapulted them to this level of fame that these bands weren't destined for. And now it's thrust upon them like a strange crown, right? And so, no, I'm gonna marry Green Day because I probably have a lot to learn from somebody like that.
I just can't get this image out of my head of like Bastille playing in the background. Ayo, ayo, and then like those fucking timpanis for the fuck. Just saying, you made that bed and you can sleep in it.
Is that Maroon 5?
Ayo, ayo. You know what I'm talking about.
That sings
fucking
that?
ukulele fucking music.
Oh no, did they start that? Good lord. That's the worst one of the worst.
You know what I'm talking about with like the stomps and the claps and the hey,
Maroon
white people's DIY core.
So there's like music, right?
There's a show of that?
There's a show of that?
That sounds like the same. That you're describing the same music that you from insurance company commercials.
Man,
I'm
totally.
Or like every 5-second YouTube ad. The insurance commercial has a fat ass, but like no personality.
Well, can I pick like an insurance commercial from the 80s or 90s though?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
Okay.
Am I allowed to do that, or do I have to pick the ones that have like the guy, the woman who's wears the apron and has red hair? Do I have to pick that music? Because I'll still pick that, because those weird jingles will be fun to fuck with at the end of the songs. I'm sorry, at the end of the commercials. But anyhow, Man, I had another thing I wanted to bring up, and I don't recall it now, but I'm sure I'll come up with another thing soon. Pete, did you listen to Dookie? Green Day's Dookie when you were growing up?
Yeah. So yeah, of course I married Green Day in that equation because that was another like, thing that was like really exciting when I was a kid was Dookie, of course.
It's a very well constructed album. Like it starts with that song Burnout, which just announces itself immediately. And like we should all be so lucky as to create an album and we can have a song for it that announces the entire feel of the rest of the album to follow. It's only like 30 seconds long. I'm not growing up, I'm just burning out. And they had that great line, and I stepped in line to walk amongst the dead. It's a great line. That's a beautiful fucking line. Stepped in line to walk amongst the dead. If that doesn't capture slacker Generation X, I don't know what the fuck else does.
Yeah, that's Gen X music.
Gen X song like ever. I stepped in line to walk amongst the dead. That's the most Gen X line I've ever heard in my life. And that album has that like 1 minute long song that just announces the theme for the rest of the album. And that brings me to another point. That's a very important thing, right? When you make an album, to announce the theme, right? I think that's an
interesting concept,
right? You know, that's like
that makes sense.
Announce the themes, right? Well, when you pick your first song, Pete? Like, what do you think about? What are you thinking about? What's your intention?
There's a few different ways to like open an album. You know, there's like the
let's go for it
gambit, like you've described, kind of just like like the opening, like bam, like right in the face kind of thing. That's like the classic. And then there's completely other ways to do things. Like if you want to set up like a more slow kind of arc, then you can kind of start with a prelude, kind of like kind of thing. It depends on the tone of the album, but that first track is important because it's like a promise of what you're setting up for the rest of the album.
Ooh,
sometimes I feel like sometimes it's like a 1, 2, 3 thing, like the first 3 songs talk to each other in a way that kind of.
Guys, Drunk on Media has a really good question. What is the best opening track? Like, what are you thinking of in your head when you're describing this?
Well, I already said my answer.
A lot of things go through my head. Loveless, we were talking about you guys.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great example.
Here it is, that's like perfect.
Damn, that is a good example.
Well, Isaac, do you have an answer for this?
I don't, dude. I have too much music. Honestly, I'm thinking about Ford and Low Patent Channel Pressure, but I know somebody else has probably done it more.
No, it doesn't matter whether it's done.
That was the first thing that came in my head when you guys started talking about concept albums. Channel Pressure, but
in Vaporwave, like beginning of Sapporo Contemporary, right? That.
Oh yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah. Boom.
Here we go.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That is a great intro. Isn't that a Rippingtons track? I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
God. Hey, what were some of the first Vaporwave acts and artists and like songs and albums that you heard? What got you into it? And when?
I'm not sure. I have trouble remembering a lot of times, but I think I remember seeing like the article when Floral Shop came out and be like, that seems really interesting or hipstery or something, and I forgot about it and until later when I was obsessed with it. But I think I was getting into I think I probably heard Eyeliner really early.
Oh, nice.
Maybe some and
Eyeliner's
not sure. It's really hard to remember. It's really hard to remember because it's all like there's so many different that like you feel like you've got it, and then there's like and then there's this other thing.
Right.
I was in a Bodyline, I think, really.
Dude, I love Bodyline so much.
It's just hard to.
Yeah, man. Isn't that great when you first start learning about Vaporwave and you realize that you can't get the sound down because it keeps changing so much?
Right.
It's really inspiring.
Like, you just kind of. Yeah, you're just like, you just kind of pick the parts you like, the ones that resonate with you. That's like your thing.
Yeah, man. I did this interview one time in Philadelphia, and they were asking me about they were asking me about since I'm like a Vaporwave diplomat in Philadelphia, right? So there were some people that were asking me, doing an interview with me, and they're asking me for Vaporwave album recommendations, right? And they're like, so where should we start with Vaporwave? What do you recommend? And I'm like, not doing that, I'm not giving you an answer. Type Vaporwave into Bandcamp, type Vaporwave into Google, and just pick something randomly. Go to one of the hundreds of record labels that are out there and pick a random one and start there. I don't believe there are classics. You will pick what you want and make your own way through through the cloud of Vaporwave, right? There's so much out there, and there's so much continuously putting out there that you will find your own journey through it, because some sounds will speak to you, some sounds will not speak to you. So like, I refuse to give people, suggestions of where to start. I won't do that. Once they've been in it a little while,
you won't even make them like a little mix to help them out.
Oh, I'll give them all right, fine. I'll give them a mix. I'll give them a little mix. Maybe,
there you go.
But
I knew you had a heart.
No, I don't think I want to do that anymore. I really prefer people to struggle.
Too much emotional labor.
I prefer people to struggle. I prefer people to struggle through art and to discover what they like, because that way, in discovering what they like, they discover their own voice. They discover who they are.
Okay, yeah, you're not
rather
wrong.
Than me giving you, you know what, man? Like, fine, you can follow my "What's Skelly Listening To" playlist that I do like every 2 weeks.
That's
right?
what I was trying to pull out of you. That's what I was trying to draw out.
I mean, I do that, but that's great, and that's kind of like, but
that's for the people that are already fans.
That's going to change every 2 weeks, and that's not only going to be classics. That's going to be people who are up and comers, people who I like a lot. Who I like the sound of a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like people whose music speaks to me, and just interesting artists that I like that I think need more attention. So like, yeah, you can subscribe to that. But
so you don't send them that one Internet Club
and
album.
Also, you shouldn't just listen to what I'm posting. You should make your own. If you like this music, if you want to be a part of this, the only way to be a part of this is to dive into it and to like start working through and figuring out what you like, because there's a lot out there. And like, I'm certainly not going to recommend classics to you. I'm going to not really recommend anything. You can
send them the Internet Club album. You know which one? The one that goes rap, 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 rap.
Yeah, that's
See how they like that?
I do like that a lot. But I'm strongly against the concept of like classics in general. I don't like to do that, particularly with Vaporwave, because this has only been around for a little while. So classics are still fortifying themselves right now. Everything can disappear if we don't continue to expand. It can all disappear very easily, and I think people forget that. How small, how neat. People sometimes forget just how niche this is, and that at the end of the day, some of us may seem like we have some kind of big success or whatever, but not really, man. This is very niche. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I can't ever even understand it when people get jealous of other people. And I'm like, what are you jealous of? You're like 2 steps removed from that person. Like, you know what I mean?
That's one thing I love about this scene, man. It's so
the person you're jealous of is like 2 steps above you, probably. This is very fucking niche, and you shouldn't forget that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that person you're jealous of, you literally just talk to them all the time anyway. Like, no one's that far ahead of you. Like, no one's that far above you at the end of the day. Even the most successful people. Go ahead.
Well, honestly, that's true. But at the same time, there's also no reason for people to be super jealous, because it's like some of the Vaporwave stuff and our adjacent music is like more, kind of more successful in certain terms, like as far as how much it gets around and how many people are involved than a lot of other sort of indie music things, if you think about it. So we all have a lot to be proud of as contributors to this thing,
Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, what the fuck is classic Vaporwave? Classic Vaporwave just means the stuff that everybody talks about. It's not a specific sound. It's just an established thing that everyone always starts with. I'm not talking about a sound. You know what classic Vaporwave is. Don't play that game with me, people. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking. Go on Twitter for a minute. Go on fucking Discogs for a minute. You know what I'm talking about. Don't play that game. Anyway,
I got a question for FM Skyline.
Don't patronize me. Don't patronize me, motherfuckers.
FM
Just
Skyline.
Kidding. I love you all.
Question: if you're listening to like an album or a song for the first time, what is something that if you hear it, you're like, I don't want to hear this anymore. I'm turning it off right now. What's like a non-negotiable no-no for you?
Well, I think the thing that is most visceral is like sounds and like the balance of the sounds and like even I think even noise music can be actually pleasant if it's kind of like in a certain way, but it can also be like just straight up violence, Right. So I think that's kind of the most. I think that's the most visceral thing is like the quality of the sounds. I think or like the timbres can be a turnoff. But past that point, I think for me is sort of like kind of like a groove and an idea or a melody that I want to hear, and if I don't get it, I get a little bored. I think is kind of the thing for me.
Yeah,
I got you. So the biggest thing is the boredom factor. It's not like I don't like that sound combination. It's
think about it like foreground, background, or something like that.
Okay.
Like I don't know, but that's just kind of how I approach my music. So that's not like there's nothing objective about that. That's just sort of my experience with what I look for.
Yeah, I'm. It's hard for me to say what I'm looking for. Do you know what I mean? I think it's hard for anyone to say exactly what they're looking for all the time. You know, there's of course like certain things that I really am looking for, but then like the thing about Vaporwave is I will always come up against something that I wasn't necessarily looking for, and then I get stuck in. Like I really wish I could find a good example. I'll have some examples in a moment, but like when I would go searching for example, Terminally Chill, I'm looking for dance music, right? So, but I'm not just looking for future funk. Obviously, that would be stale if I just did that. I'm also looking for funkyish vaporwave. I'm not even just looking for funkyish vapor. I'm looking for stuff with kind of like maybe a chill wave groove that has it too. Like a little like type groove that you can find in some vaporwave as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be funk, and it doesn't necessarily have to be dance music. It has to have something that you can like move to, right? I'm also looking for anthems. I'm looking, something that's anthemic. So I'm looking for a lot of different things. For I'm looking for trap music. I'm looking for trap music. I'm looking for different types of beats. Anything that you can move and have a rhythm to, right? Anything that you can dance to. And that is like, the silly thing is when people just think it's future funk, and it's not. It's like everything. The guys over at Pacific Plaza, they understand this as well. You understand this as well.
Shout out to
Isaac as a DJ. And then also who really understands it is, of course, Fantacat. She totally gets it as well. She knows how many.
Fantacat is the homie.
She's the homie. I couldn't have a better person in charge of that party. But my point with this is that while I'm looking for that sort of stuff, I'll often find myself get stuck in some of the more experimental stuff when I'm going through a record label's Bandcamp page to find that kind of stuff. I just find myself getting stuck on sounds that I wasn't even looking for. You know what I mean? I find myself getting stuck on a Slushwave album that I wasn't even looking for it. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I'm like, damn, I know I was supposed to look for this music. Now I'm stuck on this, and now I'm inspired by this. You know what I mean? And now I think that happens. Vaporwave is like a genre that happens pretty often, I feel like, because there's so many different sounds and there's so many different ways of experimenting that you're looking for one thing and then you're like, what's over here? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, kind of to tie it back to what you said very earlier about like beefing on Twitter and all that stuff. Like, I think I'm more interested in the dialogue that happens within the music, where it's like being surprised by somebody's idea and they're like, oh, I can totally understand what they're doing.
Like the different directions various people are taking
your work and you incorporate it into your idea. That's like, to me, that's the important stuff.
That's the fun stuff to talk about anyways.
Yeah. Dialogue within
Vaporwave Shine had a really question for us, guys. That is a really fantastic way. Vaporwave Shine had a question. He said he wanted to know if you had any opinions on the mainstream perception of Vaporwave. Because Dr. Chris talks about this all the time. He's always talking about how Vaporwave is perceived by people that are not in the vapor sphere. So George talks about that a lot too.
I feel like it maybe, kind of closer to when I was starting to get into it. It seemed like it was just, everybody was thinking about it as this kind of meme thing with the Simpsons wave and all that. But I don't know. I feel like I discovered, like, even in my own city that there's people I did, like somebody will like download something from Bandcamp and they're like, oh, I'm in Cheers from Richmond. And it's like, they're out there, the people are out there. So I'm not sure I'm not sure. I honestly don't really know, but I'm sure it's still I'm sure it's present for people, whether as sort of a set of aesthetic tropes or as something interesting. I don't know. I feel like some people maybe think it's just kind of like a niche or something, but I don't know. Wasn't emo like that years ago? It was just this weird little niche thing that may be embarrassing, maybe not, and that never died, right? We're still like Midwest emo is back. Right?
Hold on,
dude. You just opened up a can of worms, dude. You made a mistake. Wait.
Let's talk about that right now. That's great. You just brought up like such a great example right there, because you mentioned like. You totally brought up a great example just now, talking about emo from like the 90s and stuff. And you're right. There was not a very codified sound for that. We didn't, it was just like, you couldn't say what it sounded like by telling people emo in like the 90s, because that meant everything from Cap'n Jazz to Sunny Day Real Estate to The Promise Ring to Mineral to even like
you're absolutely right.
Consider it that at the time, you know what I mean? It meant nothing. It was an idea and it was a community. It didn't get codified until 2001, and once it got codified, then if you said emo, people were like, "Oh, so it sounds like Dashboard Confessional." And like that was that, and that was the end of that. You know what I mean? That was kind of the end of that genre. Like, no offense, but like that's kind of the end of, and it's not the end of the genre. It's just the end of it being the most exciting thing happening in music at the time, because then it became codified. And I'm not even saying there's anything wrong with it. You know, more power. I mean, everybody loves My Chemical Romance. Everybody loves Fall Out Boy. That's all good. But, you know, do they sound that different, either of them? Not particularly. Do they sound that different from Dashboard Confessional? Not particularly. I mean, sure. Yes, they do. You know, in the nuances once you get deep into it. But I mean, shit sounded really, really, really far off from each other in the 90s. Like Texas is the Reason did not sound like the Jazz June, which did not sound like the Casket Lottery.
No.
You know what
Damn,
I mean? Like,
bro,
was, like,
name dropping like a mother.
Casket Lottery and June and you know all those earlier Jimmy Eat World and stuff.
I was trying to make 1999 Jimmy Eat World Clarity. That's the one we got. That's the one right there.
Yeah, but I don't know. I was kind of making a different point. I mean, I mean, I hated My Chemical Romance and Fall Out Boy. I was too old for it too. You know, at the time, I wasn't the demographic, but at the same time, emo didn't really die. You know, I mean,
it didn't.
There's a bunch of kids right now that are like digging up, you know, like I said, like the Midwest emo and stuff like that, and it never, you know, and I know people, you know, younger people in my city that when shows were still going on, were tapping into some vein of still vital emo or something like that. And
for sure.
And I'm just saying it started off as this kind of niche thing, and I guess it had a mainstream moment, but maybe Vaporwave is kind of could possibly have a trajectory, something of that nature, where, you know, maybe it has a chapter of really kind of mainstream. I don't know how the hell that's going to happen, really, but it's also always going to be like, you know, its own little corner of the world too, you know.
Yeah, I want to also
somebody 10 years from now will be like, what was going on with what's up with this Vaporwave thing, you know?
I want to also say that, like, what was this? I want to also say that I know I just sounded like I casted aspersions against MCR and Fall Out Boy, but I actually did not mean it to come off like that, because in my later day, you know, of course, initially I wasn't as receptive, but then I got older and I went back, and now I'm like into it, man. Like, I love it. I listen to the bands, I learn from them, and I learn about songwriting and writing pop hooks from them. I go to all the emo parties, I listen to all the 2000s emo, and I learn from it, and I appreciate it more now than I ever did. And back to what FM Skyline was saying, is that you're right. People have rediscovered some of the older stuff in the 2010s and actually specifically the 2020s. Like, if you listen to bands like The Hotelier and bands of that nature, it's like it's the same. It's totally influenced by that. Or what's like another one? You know, like Moving Units is another one, and all these bands are or Tiger Jaw, which I guess is a little bit earlier, but like these are all bands that are influenced by like Rainer Maria and stuff like that, right? So we're back in that phase again, and like I couldn't be more happy to listen to bands like Oso Oso. You know what I mean? I love these bands a lot. And what's another one I'm thinking of that I really like a lot? Oh, like Pet Symmetry, I guess.
Symmetry.
Pet, what's
got some mild takes. over here.
Remo Drive. I'm a huge fan of Remo Drive as well, and these bands. So, you know, cool, man. It's all good. All good. At the end of the day, all good. No, not Moving Units. I'm sorry. You're right. Moving Units was a, I meant to say Tiny Moving Parts. Sorry about that. Moving Units was a dance.
I kind of noticed that, but I was like, maybe he's just being really liberal.
Everyone.
Nope, you said it. Somebody clip it.
Punk band. Shush. Moving Units is a dance punk band. And Tiny Moving Parts is the emo band I was thinking of. No, I made a music faux pas, so I had to correct that, or else I was gonna be embarrassed.
Dude, that's a flaming hot take. Holy shit.
Dude, if you embarrass yourself musically, you want to correct yourself, right? You know, you want to make sure, right? So I had to do that. I'm sorry.
Well, I have a question for you, Pete. If you had somebody ask you what is Vaporwave, and you had to pick one track, or I guess we could make it fun, one album or artist, what would you pick? What's your favorite example?
Oof.
Like, if your mom asked you what Vaporwave sounds like, I mean, obviously you'd show her your music, but, you know.
Well, my mom. Okay, so this would be kind of. I have a little hack for that because my mom had Beyond the Mind's Eye on VHS. We used to watch
that's
it,
so
like, it's kinda like that.
sick.
But like it's kind of like that, a little more trippy. That's what I would say.
Oh, there you go.
She would understand
Damn,
that.
that's such a good answer, bro. And that's such a great description of your music too. Like the Hollow Beach LTD track is right at home on a Mind's Eye tape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. We were talking about the genre descriptors earlier. I gave up recently. One of on my profile it just says Beyond the Mind's Eye type beat.
There you go.
Giving up
That's a really good description.
That's the best I can do. That's the best I can do right now.
What is an overrated vaporwave song? Can we go into that territory?
Overrated?
Can we do that?
Can we do that? Is anyone afraid?
I don't know.
Wait. I have to use the bathroom really quick. Do you guys want to continue this conversation? I'll just fill me in 1 second.
Overrated, huh?
Can you guys hear me? They're saying that I'm talking but muted.
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead, Chris. We don't have to
Overrated?
go into that territory if you don't want to. Maybe you can describe it. You could describe it.
I can't really think of. I mean, everybody's got their favorites. I mean, I feel like people saying Floral Shop isn't a good album is the new Beatles aren't that good or something like that. But like,
Very well said.
But Lisa Frank, it's still a striking. It's still a striking. Composition. It's those tones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a pretty good answer.
I don't know what is supposed to be so rated that we can even call it overrated. That's like a little. I don't know. I'm not sure where to go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jesus Christ, that man pisses fast. Oh, I didn't notice the Male Tears shirt until now. Shout out Male Tears. Somebody said teen pregnancy is the most overrated. I kind of agree.
I don't know what that is. I haven't heard it.
It's a Blank Banshee track.
It's a joke.
Dr.
Wait,
Chris
joking?
loves that song, so
I actually do really love that song.
you play
I think it's
all
great.
the time.
Do you know why I love it? Because it fucking moves the audience. Home resonance might be a good answer, actually.
Oh man, Vaporwave Shine with the hot takes. God damn.
Do you know why? Do you know why teen pregnancy isn't overrated? Because it moves the fucking dance floor, man. That song cracks. It snaps and it moves people. I played that all the time at the dance parties, and whenever I play it, it makes people fucking move. So it can't be that overrated. It seems to live up to the hype because it seems to work with live audiences extremely well.
Whoa, someone in the chat is not a fan of Blank Banshee. Lux Elite, damn. That's a real hot take.
Hey, I'm not a huge fan either. It's
I
okay.
actually already knew that. Damn.
There's I haven't even really listened to, but I mean, he's fine. He's fine without me listening to all of his stuff. It's okay.
I think the new album is really
he's gonna
cool,
be okay.
personally. I actually like pretty much all of his work, and I really enjoyed the new album.
He is amazing live. I'll tell you guys that. I've never seen someone move that fast on an MP4.
Yeah, I saw him live as well.
He's stupid fast.
Here's the thing, guys. We all don't have to like everything, and that's okay. We're allowed to disagree. We're allowed to not like the same things, and that's fucking cool, man. And that's what makes the conversations interesting. That's what makes just interpersonal communication interesting, right? Particularly about art. I really love knowing what art moves people and what art doesn't move people. You know what I mean? It's just interesting, and we have so much to learn from each other.
Well, are there songs that you play that you notice move the audience, but you're just like kind of
that I don't like as much?
Yeah.
Probably. I have to think about that. I really love.
Think about it. Wow.
I really love all the music I play. It's so hard to think of a song that moves people that I don't like at fucking the Vaporwave night. Do you know what I mean?
Dude, as soon as you put Saint Pepsi on, people go fucking crazy.
Well, yeah, he's great. I love him so
Private
much.
Caller.
He's a brilliant artist, of course.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It not really, because I'm just so excited. And it's impossible. Every song I play, I absolutely love because I'm playing it at a Vaporwave dance party, and this shouldn't even exist. And it's got a crowd, and there's a lot of people there, and everyone's having a great time. Do you know how great music sounds when that's like your environment? Do you know
when it's cranked the fuck up?
Everything sounded great at Electronicon, and not only because I love those music, but if someone came on and I can't really think of many artists I don't like, actually, honestly, at the end of the day, they're in the Vaporwave world. But if some artist I didn't like came on at Electronicon, I'd still fucking love it because my God, this is so fun. This is amazing. I'm having a great time. So like Before,
Yeah.
okay, let's do a little backstage story, right? So,
All right, let's do it.
Econ 1, right? Before Ryan went on to do his St. Pepsi set, right? He was flipping the fuck out backstage. He was going through computer to computer, he's like, I don't have this hard drive I need. I don't have all the music I want to play. He was like panicking, walking back and forth. His girlfriend was sitting there being like, Ryan, it's okay. Do you want me to go back to the hotel room? And I just told Ryan, I'm like, Ryan, this is shooting fish in a fucking barrel. Everyone's ready to have a good time. You are going to do great. And once you get up there, you're going to know exactly what to do. Like, what are you panicking? You're not going to, there's no reason to panic. Everybody's is ready to have a great time. This is the best audience you have ever played for ever. And like this,
Right.
like, no, everyone is having a great time. You can't mess this up. You wouldn't mess it up anyway, but you certainly aren't going to mess it up here. Everyone is going nuts. You're like, at Terminally Chill, everyone's going nuts. Everyone's having a great time. Everything sounds great. You know what I mean? And it's great anyway, but it sounds even better. So there's absolutely not one single time when I am DJing a Vaporwave dance party, which that shouldn't exist. There's not one time I'm doing a Vaporwave dance party where I don't want to play this song again. Absolutely not, man. If I had to play the same song 50 times in a row, I would still probably be having the same amount of fun, man, because this is fucking insane.
The
So much
excitement
fun.
is infectious, man.
Just the excitement, the environment, the fact that these people that I'm around, people who sort of experience music similarly to me, you know what I mean? The fact that everyone's excited to be here, everyone's kind, having a great time, everyone's just, like, how could anything sound bad? Like, I don't have bad music. I don't have bad music ready to go,
Of course not.
No, man. Even if I played the same songs, even if I did Terminally Chill for like 40 years and like still had to play some song for 40 years straight, I doubt I would ever get tired of it. 100% no. If it was the same environment, if it was the same crowd, same level of people. I mean, I think this is how those bands can tour with the same sort of songs for 50 or 60 years, right? Like, how many times does the Rolling Stones have to hear some of their songs, right? And this goes back to something else we were saying earlier, is when you write a song, make sure you like it. Make sure you want to hear it a lot.
Right. Question for Pete. If you had to pick a song by your favorite artist that was their worst song, favorite act's worst song, what is it?
Wow. That's
Favorite
hard.
act.
Favorite act's worst song.
Whew, it's a lot of data to sift through. Favorite act.
You can think on that one if you need to.
Yeah, favorite act, worst song. Phew. I don't know. There's a lot of music to think about.
I know. If you asked me that question, I would have to take like a half hour.
Okay,
to
so
answer that.
I was a huge Elliott Smith fan. I learned everything that he ever recorded.
Damn.
So there's probably,
Me too, man. Me too.
Damn, that
there's
scene.
probably
That scene in the
probably a
Royal
couple of his
Tenenbaums
songs that-
with the Elliott
There's
Smith
probably
song.
a couple of his songs that shouldn't have gotten released that I still. There was like these Basement 2 demos that eventually got whittled down to Basement on the Hill
Mm-hmm.
that was out, and there was a couple. There was an alternate version of.
This is not my life.
No, it's. I don't know. I can't find it now. But
King's Crossing.
no, it was. It was an early version of Pretty Mary Kay that sounded nothing like the one on Figure 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was really obsessed with. I know exactly. I kind of know what.
Pretty Mary Kay, walk on the water. Pretty Mary Kay. That song.
Yeah, I know exactly which one. So I am a big Elliott Smith fan as well, right? And I learned a lot from him too. The way I learned to play guitar was by learning to play Elliott Smith songs to learn the weird chords that he would play. And I learned to play Beatles songs to learn how to write songs. You know what I mean? If you want to learn how to make music, how to write music, I highly recommend going through the Beatles catalog and like learn I don't care if you like the Beatles or don't like the Beatles, but like if you want to improve your songwriting, it doesn't even matter what genre you play in, just learn to play Beatles songs and like you'll just be like, oh, that's how a song works. Oh fuck. And like then all of a sudden you feel empowered. You feel like my songwriting skills jumped up 200% once I started just learning to play the Beatles. I don't know anything about theory. I don't know anything about this sort of stuff. But and I didn't listen to the Beatles for a long time because I was like too cool for it and I thought it was dumb. But I was an idiot for thinking that way. There's a reason that they're considered the greatest rock band. it's real. And when rock is gone and no one cares about it anymore in like 70 or 80 years, like this is the band that people 100
robots
years from now
are making
go back
music
and be like, oh yeah, this is the one that's important from that time period. Like I know it doesn't feel that way now, but I'm telling you right now, like this is the truth. Like the other rock bands are going to be secondary to this in 150 years.
You're right. I did the same thing. I did the same thing when I was going through a big songwriting thing. Yeah, it was learning every Beatles song, because what's cool about learning Beatles songs, if you're interested in songwriting, even though you might think they're corny for whatever reason, which they are, but they were in this pressure cooker where they were like churning out albums on this label,
very much so.
So they were like, they would go home and one of them would come up with a song idea because they knew they would be in the studio the next day and they would have to crank out a song. So it's like they were like put into this hard-boiled environment of like creating like little ways to like, okay, now this time the bridge goes that way, and little key changes and melodic things they do. I think if you want to get down to it with like pop songwriting, I think that's a great place to.
It's just like the fact of the matter is that like anybody can pick up a guitar. So here's the thing: is that it's not like Paul McCartney or John Lennon are these great singers. Anybody can pick up a guitar and strum a fucking Beatles song and sing it, and it becomes your song. Like you can sing it in your own voice, you can play it in your own voice, and now it's your song. You know what I mean? Like if you took a Rolling Stones song and played that on guitar and sang it, you're gonna sound like Mick Jagger, you're gonna sound like the Rolling Stones. But you can take the fucking Beatles songs because they're just like, these are just structured pop songs, and you can play them, and now they're yours. And now you're like, oh fuck, I'm never gonna play this kind of music. But I kind of know a little bit more about songwriting now, and I can translate it to like pretty much almost any other kind of music. I mean, I don't make Beatles music. I don't,
Yeah, I mean,
man. But Elliott Smith, for him though, like it was those chords that he would play, and it would just be like, oh, I never thought about moving my finger here. Like I never thought about this sound together over here. And I also went through when he died. There was like a website where they had like somebody like put all these demos from him up, and you could like actually like download all these demos. And like I remember just. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? That website, like I would go through that.
That was the Basement 2 demos.
Is that what that was? Because that was, I went on that website and you could listen to all, and like I went through like everything on that website too. And you're right, there was like a lot of stuff. You're like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So that was exactly. I did the same thing, and there was a couple. There was a couple of those that weren't on any final release where he's like recording at the end. He's like, you can like hear him like, I don't know. It's kind of sad, but so one of my favorite artists. Recording I like, that would probably be one of those Elliott Smith recordings that were out on the website after he died. Yeah, because I love
that's rough.
I love his music. His music is in my musical DNA. The way that he moves his chords and stuff, it's like forever stuck in my language.
Yeah. Stuck in your language, right? Isn't that interesting that you kind of develop like everybody who makes music sort of develops their own musical language, right? Nobody writes songs the same way. It's interesting. It's I wonder that it probably says something about you too. Like every one of us who knows make music, and even and also Isaac, with DJing too. Like the way you organize your sets, probably says something about everything we do. Says something about us, right? All the art we make says a lot about us.
Absolutely,
ideally,
man.
I guess.
Absolutely. Kevin Equip wants to know, Pete, pineapple on pizza or no?
Pineapple could definitely go on pizza, but I want it to be accompanied at least with jalapenos.
Oh, that's
great. You going for that third flavor combo?
So
salty,
smart.
Sweet, and spicy.
Damn, son.
That's always how I order my pineapples on pizza. Is I get it with the jalapenos as well.
Yeah, it's good.
Damn.
It's good.
Next, y'all be adding chocolate to your
salty.
pizza.
Chocolate to the pizza.
Now, serious question time. Somebody, Quiz 0083 says, question for y'all based on Skelly's point just now. Can cover songs be vaporwave? Conceptually, musically, or politically?
Yeah, sure, right? Right?
Conceptually, politically. Wow, I didn't know we had
conceptually, musically, or politically. Oh man, if you didn't think there was politics and music,
of course,
sure. Making vaporwave a political act.
No, of course you can. Of course, I would love to see it. I would love to see the proof of concept. I'm sure it can be done. I'm sure.
I've covered. I mean, I'm not like.
Oh yeah, George Clinton covers "Semi Charmed Life" all the time, and I love it when he does.
He does. I was literally about to.
I love it when he works that song into his sets.
It's a funny question because obviously the sampling. It's like. homage, you know.
Yeah, that's
And,
true.
Yeah.
like, even without sampling, which I don't sample, but I definitely lift things. You know, it's just like the same thing as sampling. Like, oh, I like that. I'm just gonna kind of record that in my DAW. You know, it's like the same idea. But a cover song is a different kind of thing where it's like I don't know. That's a kind of a weird boundary between the sampling of Vaporwave.
Pacific Plaza
and
says Nano Shrine has done covers, and he's absolutely right. Nano Shrine's cover of "Make It Forever" is to die for.
Wait, so we talking about covering Vaporwave songs, or are we talking like Vaporwave artists covering a Vaporwave song, or Vaporwave artists covering a non-Vaporwave song?
That's an important distinction, yeah, because that would be interesting, right? Covering Vaporwave songs. But didn't somebody say Nano Shine did that? Is that what you were saying?
Is that what you're saying? He covered "Make It Forever"? What's going on here?
Well, yeah, didn't Vectroid? Yeah, Vectroid covered Danny Lopatin, right? There's on
Oh, really?
Telnet.
Really?
Yeah, Telnet Complete. There is a
Oh yeah, Emotions by Roger Troutman. She flipped. End of life scenario number 2 or whatever. I know exactly what you mean. Lux actually brought up Telnet Erotica earlier. Such a solid release.
Hold on. I mean,
I love it.
Really bothers me that she re-released it as Telnet Complete, and it's like not as good as the original, in my opinion.
I like Telnet Complete, but maybe that's the first one I had. Oh yeah, Lux said also Nobody Here. Yeah, she did do a Vectroid did do an
Vectroid covered Black Moth Super Rainbow. What? I didn't know that. Wow.
You guys know, I've done covers before. I have one cover song.
Who did you cover?
That's out. I covered Galaxy 500. Tell me.
Wow.
Are you familiar with Galaxy 500, the slowcore band? Big influence on like the
very
obviously
shoegaze influence.
Yeah, very big influence on the shoegaze scene. So I covered a song. I covered "Tell Me," and I released it on so Captain TV. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with that old Vaporwave artist. She had curated a mixtape for Plastic Response Records, and it featured myself and Cat System Corp and Ultra and Telepath and Lancaster.
God, what
and
happened to Captain TV? I remember her.
So anyway, she curated this compilation, and for my contribution to the compilation, I did a sort of like a weird I did a little cover of with synthesizers version of Tell Me, but instead of using hazy guitars, which is what they do, I just used hazy synthesizers. You know what? I'm gonna put that in the chat. There you go. You guys can look that up. It was called Destination.
Yeah, thank you.
It was called Destination.
Really want to hear that
it was a digital compilation curated by Captain TV. It also features myself, Telepath, Cat System Corp, Ultra, and some other.
I have actually.
You guys can check it out if you like.
I am embarrassed.
I put it in the chat.
Thank you.
I think I don't remember when we released it. It was released it back in 2014 actually.
Plastic Response.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pete, have you done covers like as FM Skyline, or would you ever?
Yeah. I'm going to cover something whenever live music is back, but I'm not going to spoil it right now.
Oh, okay. Do you want to give us maybe a little hint?
I did mention it earlier.
Genre name?
I mentioned it earlier for a certain VHS tape that I had and that my mom had.
Ooh, this is going to be so sick. A little Jan Hammer. Is it Jan or is it Jan? I probably
pretty sure it's Jan.
Botched the fuck out of that name. Hey, if you cover the Miami Vice theme song, I will pay like whatever it takes.
Oh, I almost made this meme the other day where it's like the Geordie, you know how the Geordie has replaced the Drake one, you know that meme format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one. It's like for me, it's like that's a hot take where it's like Jan Hammer's Miami Vice soundtrack, and then Jan Hammer's Beyond the Mind's Eye. It's like,
oh my god, this man.
Hey, can I go back to one thing really quick?
My air horn's not working.
One thing that you said that really stuck with me a lot was you talked when you're talking about writing an album, and you're mentioning about like, oh, sometimes when you make the first 3 songs, you have them talk to each other, and I thought that was really a really fascinating way to start the construction of an album.
I will be right back.
Is that a conscious process for you? Do you actually like start writing these songs, and be like, well, this one will lead to this one, or do you create the songs and then assemble them based on the energy they have, and you look at them, you're like, this one fits here, this one fits there. You know, how does it work for you?
Usually, the beginning of the writing process, you're looking for the banger. You're like looking for like the banger that's like the anchor of the whole like proof of concept of like the whole thing. So no, I don't ever like just be like, okay, here's the 1 and here's the 2, here's the 3. It'll be like trying to write like a banger for, you know, for like a few months, and then like, okay, I've got a few things. It's like, and then it's like, oh, this is definitely 1, this is definitely 2, this is definitely 3. And then it's kind of like, how can I, and then it's like, you know, writing the rest of the tracks and figuring out how they're going to balance, you know, around that, that opening kind of thing. But that opening is really important, and knowing where like the really important track is like really, you know, that's like the main thing.
Yeah, man, I find that too, that sometimes the first song that I sit down and write, it's like, you're right, I'm searching for something that's really going to hit hard, and I'm like, wow, I often find that I write the anchor first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's usually, that can be, most of the time it's like kind of the beginning of like, okay, this is like, I'm going to work around this, you know, something like will really scan it. Like, okay, this is like, can kind of write around this track. Yeah, that's true. But it's important to like stop too when you're like, okay, well, there's like, you can only have like 2 or 3 of those like kind of like hit single vibe songs, and then it's time to like stretch out and see how far you can like expand the territory around something, but without losing it, you know.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting balancing act. You know what I mean? It's very fascinating process when you begin to write something that's going to turn into an album, and you're like, what's going to fit? What's not going to fit? What's going to be an outtake? You know what I mean? What is going to be something for another album? What is something that I might just release as a standalone single that isn't even going to be on an album, or maybe I'll save this for a compilation. You know, I find that sometimes I write stuff, and then it's like, I don't think this is going to work on an album, and then I just like catalog it away for like the next time I have like a compilation. You know what I mean? Or the next time someone asks me to participate in something like that. That's happened a lot.
Which is a very important and like kind of like necessary to the creative health thing, is to be like, this is good, but I don't need to force this into being an album or anything, you know? It's very important to like kind of be able to like, what do you call it? Compartmentalize that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Question for you, Pete.
What
is your favorite video game? Because you've mentioned Sonic a few times in your music, so I gotta know.
Yeah. These singular favorites are tough, but yeah. Well, you know, I definitely grew up with Sonic, so that would be Sonic and Knuckles would be a strong candidate.
Sonic and Knuckles, okay. Good answer.
Would be a strong candidate. Again, that's really tough, but I don't know. I definitely play through Mario 64 like 3 times a year just for something to do, you know. As super like John Normalman of that is of me to say, but that's high up there for me.
John Normalman, is that an expression? That's great.
John Normalman.
It is around.
John Normalman of me. How John Normalman of you. That's great. That's
I'm stealing that one.
John Normalman.
I love that. That's
I love
totally,
it. Tech Honors was talking about when they take man and pronounce it min. He was talking about, I'm a coffee man. Instead of I'm a man that likes coffee, I'm a coffee man. I'm John Normalman. Yeah, love that.
John Normalman.
How do you feel about the live Vaporwave process? Are you still kind of working out exactly what you want it to look like? Are you scaling down how much things you bring with you? Do you want to scale up? What do you want to do with your visuals? Like, I think the one of the biggest challenges for Vaporwave once we go live again is, you know, the growing pains of figuring out what the best way to do it live is. You know, how to make this, how to create an experience for live Vaporwave performances, right? Because you can't approach it the same way a rock and roll band approaches it, right? It has to be kind of viewed through another lens. And I think everyone's still kind of trying to completely work out exactly the best way. And do you think about that when you start your live performances? Like, well, when am I going to bring this? Am I going to do this? Am I going to have this? Will I have the sampler and the synthesizer? Am I going to have 2 samplers? What's my visuals going to look like? What's my personality going to be like on stage? Like, is this the thing that you think about and want to
This is a huge subject. I think about it a ton. I think about it a lot. But one thing that's been really cool about, you know, Vaporwave Live, you know, which is kind of a newer thing to happen more often, is like, well, there's no precedent. Like, I mean, you know, like Electronicon, you know, Mesh just sat there at his laptop and it's like it's fine. That works just fine. And and then
he had like a big.
I was kind of dancing around a lot. There's. There's like all these different ways that it can do it. You can do it, which is great. It's awesome that there's not like, like if it's like you can't, like the fucking rock and roll world is so lame because it's like, oh, I need to see energy on the stage or I'm gonna fucking leave. This band sucks. I'm gonna refund. You know what I mean? But it's like we don't have to do that with Vaporwave. You can make it really audio visual and like immersive and moody if you want, or you can make it like kind of more the DJ thing, or you can incorporate live instruments, guitars, like Equip does, and like, or anywhere in between, and like I think about it so much, and I'm always shopping for gear, and I'm like I always want to buy gear, like I want to buy gear that does the most for me for the least amount of money for the least pieces, and it's like to the point where I'm like. It's actually to the point where the new album that I've been working on and finished with, it's like I was conceptualizing it about how I was going to eventually be able to play it live. At the same time, I was thinking about what I wanted to write. Yeah. So yeah, it's a big thing. It's a big thing.
Do you remember? Did you ever see Explosions in the Sky Live? I'm glad you think
about that a lot too, because I think about it a lot as well, and I love
sitting around on folding chairs.
But I want to just say I really, really, really loved your answer just now. That was the perfect answer. And I think that was exactly what people need to hear is that, no, don't think about rock and roll artists. Don't think about the way that you used to watch bands play. And it was like, hey, man, here's our hit song. And then, there's a bunch of bands jumping around. Like, no, there's no rules for this. Like you can make up how you do it live. And, but think critically and think about how you want to do it and really have a game plan and give
and
so
most
many
of the time the audience
how
will
you want
be
to do
super
it.
here for it too.
So I know, and I know that with the album that I've been working on, the new album I've been working on, like it's the same thing, man. It's a lot of it's being informed about how am I going to make this a live thing? What's the visual experience going to be? And I think a lot of artists who are now comfortable, who now want to play live, are really thinking the same way too. You know what I mean? And I think that's great. And I'm just so excited to see what people come up with. I have a bunch of ideas. I have a whole lot of ideas for what I plan to do. So I can't wait to see what everybody else is doing. And I love that you're like, yes, it's the thing I think about all the time. Because I know it's the thing I think about all the time. I think it's the thing a lot of the Vaporwave artists are thinking of all the time. And it's nice to know that we're all in the same boat. We're all trying to figure this out.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we also have, the virtual dimension too, where it's even that has been an interesting platform of how we can do our virtual live things too.
We got some...
I'm sorry?
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, it's okay. That's okay. This last year has probably informed a lot of us sort of differently in various ways about the digital kind of virtual presentation, and it'll be interesting to see how that kind of translates to the actual live thing once we're back there.
Yeah, man. I have someone that's I'm commissioning to make a mask for me right now.
Oh, holy shit! Can't wait to see that. Shit.
Yeah, I'm working on I'm trying to work on a big audio-visual sort of style presentation, and
goddamn.
Well, I haven't gotten anything done with this yet. I still working on the album. I have a bunch of shit in my head, you know what I mean? And I'm like Pete too, where I'm like, what's the gear that's going to give me the most amount of bang for my buck, right? I have there's these what are those DJ decks that Pioneer has that they look like DJ decks, but they're not DJ decks. They're actually samplers and little small synths, but they look like CDJs, and that's
cool. Yeah,
I want to get one of those. I want to at least look into one of those. So, anywho,
Pete, we got a backlog of questions in the chat.
Oh yeah, why don't we get to some of these questions?
Let's go to Roundtable if that's okay. Nathan says, "What inspired you to use certain motifs throughout a whole album, like that little hook in Advanced Memory Suite?"
I wonder which one they're talking about, but I don't know. So there's a motif that I use in a lot of my songs that comes from the first album I made that was electronic album. That it's a Pete Curry album. It's not FM Skyline.
Oh shit!
But there was one song on there that was my favorite track. So I've used that. I've used that a lot. But sort of a more on point for the question is that's important when I'm starting to write an album is that certain I'll sort of find a couple motifs that I like, and then I will definitely kind of
refer back,
use those, hammer them, kind of bring them for everything they're worth, kind of thing,
Love it, love it. Equip says, "What's a Tim and Eric line that pops into your head almost once a day?"
I know my answer.
I was really loving the Beef Boys thing that they did this last summer.
Man.
Oh, I love that show. That's so good.
The Beef House.
His old army friend shows up and is like, "My friend died. He's seen some real shit. He just got out of the war."
Oh god damn.
I know for me, shrimp and white wine is constantly rotating through my skull all the time. Man, okay. Well, next question. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No, that was a good question. CXCHED says, "Do you think that it is at all important to create a character / persona for your music to fall under, rather than your actual self?"
This is a very interesting and difficult question. It depends on what kind of art you're making and what you're. And the good thing is that you can kind of play around with it a little bit. I think, when I was doing more like songwriting, there was a persona, and he was this kind of wild and crazy guy.
Oh shit.
And FM Skyline is like, I liked having a little bit of distance, so that was something that worked for me. Of course you're all looking at me right now, so that's not happening, but like, it's important. It depends on what the project is and what like the soul of the project is, Like, I really like that my music is like all kind of MIDI synthetic stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't feel the need to be like branding my personality as much because of that. You know what I mean?
It's always interesting to see which Vaporwave artists are super personality and kind of character driven, and which ones are completely anonymous yet still successful.
Yeah. There's a range there, and there's room, but it is kind of, I think it is important, and maybe me sort of waffling on the subject is demonstration of me not really knowing or something. But yeah, it is a good question. Worth thinking about for sure.
Have you ever been accused of being an eyeliner lookalike?
No.
He's been accused of being an FM Skyline lookalike.
We do look alike. I met Luke. I had been a fan of his music when I met Luke in LA, and we figured out that we were like born the same year, like within.
Oh wow.
We have a lot in common, so it's just we can, it's like sometimes the universe is there's some serendipity, So I wouldn't be mad if somebody said, "You look like eyeliner."
Right.
Yeah. Cool. I love eyeliner. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you could see any 3 acts live that you have not yet seen, any 3, anytime, they don't have to be currently in rotation, who would they be?
Like just of any music history?
Anything. If you get to see any 3 acts, what are they?
Well, it'd be cool to see the old Ludwig van rocking on the piano. It'd be cool. It'd be cool to see Thelonious Monk. I don't know. I guess it's easier for me to remember to think about people who I couldn't see, right?
Right. Yeah. World of Equip says
I've gotten a chance to see some of my most favorite artists recently. So
enviable. Pre-COVID.
The Electronicons,
So, favorite acts at Electronicon. Let's hear them.
No, I'm not going to do it.
All right. Well, I mean...
So, have you played the game Paradise Killer? Quiz0083 is asking if you've played the game Paradise Killer, which seems to take heavy aesthetic influence from your album covers.
What?
I have not heard of Paradise Killer. I need to look that up.
I think he asked another question earlier, asking if you would ever play your music with a live band.
No, I haven't.
Would you ever? Would you ever?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, a friend of mine, Fake Fever, actually learned a lot of my lightware on drums, and we were wondering if we were going to ever have to.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah, Fake Fever's out there too, isn't he?
Whoa. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we didn't really get the chance to do it, but I'm open. It would be cool, but I also have to admit that like part of like being FM Skyline was I've been in tons of bands. I've been in bands for years, and so it's like it's kind of been nice
Skyline.
to be
yeah
in charge of myself, but at the same time, you have to kind of let it go, but that kind of feeds back onto the like, what do people need to see on a stage, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But yeah, it would be fun to play with the band again. Also, Isaac, I'm sorry I shot down your Electronicon question.
No, that's fine, dude. I know.
It's just hard, you know.
It is hard. You don't want to create any favorites.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We can rename the show Mild Takes. Is there any act or artist that you would very much like to collaborate with? You get free reign.
You get free reign. Well, I mean, I don't know. Nothing pops into my mind immediately.
Ow, nothing? No artist whatsoever in the whole
Damn, he took
artist
the
out there,
political
huh?
route.
I think I'm. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's like
Doesn't have to be the only one you'd want to collaborate, just a one that you'd want to collaborate with.
yeah.
You get other options if you want to in the future. This is just one who would be, it'd be cool to meet this person and play with them. Maybe they could, make a little song with them, see what would happen. Doesn't have to be a vaporwave artist either, just anybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, it's like this is a hot take. It's hard. It's like I think it's like having to like pick singular things as like identifiers, or like, it's like really difficult.
Yeah,
it's
that's a good
like
point.
it's like really easy. It's really easy. You think of these things all the time when you're walking down the street, but it's like so hard to sign off on things. Sometimes it's just really hard to sign off on things like that. I mean, there's a lot of people I would love to collaborate with.
I feel that.
I mean, like I would love to collaborate. I mean, I don't think
no
there's a
apology
person out
necessary.
there who
You got
wouldn't want to collaborate with like One O Tricks Point Never.
Yeah, of course. It would be great to collaborate with Daniel Lopat. That would be awesome. Or Vectroid. I don't know if they would ever fuck with me.
I want to collaborate with One O Tricks. That would be a dream. It's the dream one day.
Do you know who you need to
I also
collaborate
feel
with?
like
Who?
Fashionista Boyfriend.
Who? Oh yeah.
I was listening to Hypnophobia, and it sounds
talk about collaborating,
like it would be a great mixture. Just saying.
I'd like to personally. I would totally. I have some ideas. Meh, I'm not gonna say that loud. Anyway,
yeah, someone might steal your idea, bro.
But I've got ideas. I got ideas for collaboration.
I also feel like
I'm going to get to.
I have the opportunity to collaborate with a lot of like peers that in the scene, and that's who I want to collaborate with, and I will. You know what I mean? We all get. I feel like we all have. There's nothing so stratified. It's like. But I don't know. I know it's a bummer to like not have an answer for that, but. It's just
you don't have to have an answer for that. I think you make I think that your answer is actually much more interesting than a real answer, which is how difficult it is to have these signifiers, right? That you're like, people expect you to have an answer for this, and then like that's what your answer for it is going to tell them something about who you are and what you're all about. You know what I mean? So I thought that your way of handling that answer was probably almost more fascinating than giving a real answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I co-sign. I was just giving you a hard time.
No,
but DS Dude 500 does want to know what your most memorable Econ 1 or 2 moment was.
A conversation. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, you're not wrong. DS Dude 500 says, what was your most memorable Econ 1 or 2 moment?
It was definitely Econ 1, Sunset on Manhattan, Telepath, starting up and being really high, and I was with my girlfriend, and we were just like, wow, because I was having the best day of my life, and she was really, it was really breathtaking, That was really magical.
That's really special.
Yeah, that was really magical.
I am again incensed that I missed it.
The whole day was incredible, but that was unbelievable. Just the sunset and the beginning of that stuff from Unison that Telepath was playing. It was just gorgeous.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Hot take from me right now is that Telepath's like a wonderful guy. Like when I have ever interacted with him, he's been nothing but kind. He's been nothing but kind, peaceful, and a really fun conversationalist. Like I have had like long conversations with him about nature of reality, and it's been very pleasant and without pretense, but incredibly sincere. So, cut him some slack.
Yeah, well, there was,
None of us are perfect.
He's super sweet, but yeah, there was that one tweet. I was like, oh, geez, really?
Yeah, we all say dumb fucking shit once in a while. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, I just think people were just waiting for a reason to roast. I don't know, man. You know what? I don't want to get involved in that. Anyhow, but the point, anyway, what I wanted to say was your girlfriend. So I have a question for that, FM Scon. Did you have a problem getting your girlfriend into the Electronicon, or did you just kind of get her in and it was no problem? Because I remember at Electronicon, everybody was like freaking out about like, where's my girlfriend? She's in line. George said she'd get her in. Did you have that kind of problem too, or were you just like, it's not? I got her.
No, it was tough. I had to meet her, when she got inside because it was.
You guys had trouble getting your girlfriends into Econ? Right. Damn.
No.
There was a lot going on.
No, there really wasn't. Here's the thing: is speaking as someone who promotes parties and like runs events often, you know what you do? You grab your girlfriend and you wave to the security guard and walk past them, because that's what I did with like 10 people that I was bringing in for like the Econ after party afterwards. That were gonna maybe like the Virtua 94 guys. Like, you guys don't know that you just have to like walk out. Like, I saw all you guys like it was like you guys are all freaking out about getting your girlfriends in and this and that, and I'm like, dude, like, just grab them and just wave to security and walk past. It's literally that easy. It was just funny to me because I'm like, well, I promote parties all the time. I just know how like you just like look like all you have to do is look like you belong, and you just walk past.
Quiz 0083 says,
it's literally for future reference, guys. Like, because I saw like everybody like freaking out about, where's my girlfriend? I have to get my girlfriend in. I have to get George, and I'm like, man, George is really busy. Just grab your girlfriend and walk them past security. They won't stop them. Like, watch how easy it is. Yeah. So next Econ, don't do that. Just grab your girlfriend and whoever else you want who's with you and walk past security, and it will be fine. You don't have to play that game. Like, it's all right. Like, I just know this because I work, doing parties, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't. Oh well. I'm sorry.
Apology not accepted. How dare you follow rules, Pete?
Quiz 0083 says everyone in this scene is Skelly's GF.
Quip brought up it's true. You would never think Telepath was Telepath. I met him backstage at Econ 1, and it was just like this dude, and I think he asked me what I had used or something for something, and I was like, oh, they were just some Logic VST. He was like, yeah, I thought I heard some. And it was like just catching wind that this guy was Telepath, and I was like, oh. Talk about a John Normalman.
Yeah, John Normalman.
Regular guy.
So, yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, I had a lovely time with him. I actually hung out. He's the person I hung out with the most at Econ 2, honestly. Like the whole time, smoking weed with him from that he had brought himself. I had stuff with me too, but he's like, no, I got my own stuff. This works for me. And yeah, had a great time. I actually pulled him aside the first time, and I'm not trying to brag right now, but I told him, I'm like, I think I know what your albums are about. And he's like, okay. And then I told him, and I was right. Just saying. And he told me I was right. And then he told me what the next albums were going to be about. And those happened to be gathering from what he told me at that, I assume. And then I heard like the Lovers Entwined stuff, and that is exactly what he was telling me the new albums were going to be, and how he'd be writing them with somebody else, and told me who that person was. But anyway, that's for another conversation. Point is that, yeah, I agree with what Pete said. All that stuff. He's a good dude, right? People have their moments, and we should, just cut people some slack sometimes, because you would like to be cut slack too, because at some point in your life, you're going to say something, everybody.
Everyone deserves a second chance.
You might not be on Twitter. Maybe it'll be around your family. Maybe with a group of friends. Maybe it'll be on some other social media thing. You're going to do something, and you're going to say something that's insensitive and isn't considering people's feelings, and it's a selfish thing to say, and you're going to say it, and you might regret it after you do it, but then it'll be out there, and you're going to be like, oh, fuck. And, it might happen to you one day. So have patience and be kind, and rise above the muck, right? Right? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I love it.
I agree. I think I've realized I have to use the bathroom really badly. So I could
why don't you do that, and then when you come back, you can shout out or say anything you want.
Okay.
That's one
All right,
thing we
I'll be
like
right
to do.
Let's see if I can.
Why don't you go, Pete? We'll talk to the crowd for a minute. Guys, is there anything that you guys want to talk about just in general? I don't know. Anything at all? Anything that's been happening in the Vapor world that you would like to touch on or talk to us about? An album or an event or just anything in general?
Yeah, sound off, guys.
Any questions you have? Anything that you want to get our opinion on or Pete's when he comes back? That's, I don't know, anything?
Yeah, we're coming down to the last few minutes. Shiny Crystal Pistol has asked this question twice. Vaporwave
Okay, let's
Dream
go for
Blunt
it.
rotation. So we definitely got to get Pete's answer on that one.
Dream Blunt. Well, okay, I'll give my answer first,
Go.
and then we'll go from there. Okay, so my Dream Blunt rotation is Telepath and definitely George Clanton, and also because he doesn't really do it that often. But so
he's a
I
lightweight.
No, so he's fun. And then let me think of a really good one for my third one. For who else do I want to have in this rotation?
That third one's the hardest.
I'd really like to have just somebody who's I really like Be Careful a lot. I think he'd just be a real fun person to bounce ideas off of as well in that state. He'd be really fun too.
Fun fact, since you mentioned
probably
Be Careful.
sleep pattern as well.
Sleep pattern and Be
Actually,
Careful.
and honestly, like, oh my god, and in Rail, God, everybody in this chat too. Oh my god, like all you guys. Honestly,
up,
oh my god, everybody in Pacific Plaza, every artist has ever recorded with Pacific Plaza, and everybody who runs that label for sure.
Right, Alex.
My god,
Groovy.
just like honestly though, but like I'm looking at this chat and just like all of you guys too, like Quip, everybody here. A quiz, he's a
I always want to ask
really,
Kevin
like,
all these video game questions,
DS,
and then I
dude,
get nervous.
Shiny Crystal Pistol, of course. Anxiety with yeah, all you guys would be like so much fun to just chill with, probably, and have a fun time.
I actually take two of the same choices, George, Telepath, and I really, really would like to pick Vectroid's brain for a little while.
She scares me sometimes.
Vectroid
intimidates me.
Vectroid is extremely intimidating.
I love her. Intimidating.
Extremely intimidating.
Is that? I'm not sure.
So, Pete, the question before you do your shout-outs is Dream Blunt rotation. Vaporwave Dream Blunt rotation.
Oh, Vaporwave Dream Blunt rotation.
Two clones of Enrail.
You know, I've already had one of the best possible Dream Blunt rotations, which was after Econ 2 was with Eyeliner and Equip and me.
Oh, that sounds great.
That is
fun.
extremely.
That sounds really fun.
I'm not sure who the big blunt roasters are. I would make my answer a little easier.
All right. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, we're down to the last.
We're getting down to the wire, so like we gotta get like you guys want to get two
last minute
in.
zingers, and then we get your shout outs, and then we'll shout out
Golf Audio and Twin Pines. Oh my god, I would love to smoke with Twin Pines. Actually,
Twin Pines is not far from
me. He would probably be so fun.
Just saying.
Golf Audio would probably crack me up. Yeah, go ahead.
Who's going ahead?
Me?
Yeah.
Remember, Azure Sands got me high as fuck the day before Econ 2. That was funny.
That's hilarious.
And then I got stuck on the big busy highway in LA. I was giving Dan Mason a ride back because we were staying in the same area, and we got stuck. We were stuck in traffic together. I was super. Azure Sands had gotten me super fucking high.
That's so really in the middle of traffic.
Oh, that sucks.
Cracking up. That's too funny.
Lux has a question. Somebody asked about whether you guys think Bandcamp Friday is a good thing or bad thing.
Good thing.
Good thing, man.
I agree.
It's fine.
Good thing
for sure. Good thing.
Easy enough. All right, Pete. We got 2 minutes. Who do you want to shout out? What do you want to say? You have the floor, sir.
Oh well, thank you guys for having me. It's good to chat with you guys. I don't know. I got we got that. I'm playing this this thing on Friday. Dan Mason. And Rail
Catskill Records.
Yeah, man, Slugfest, guys. Tune in to Pad Shennington Slugfest. What a big fan.
Got a lot of homies on the lineup.
Love that guy.
He's a hell of a hype beast.
Shout out to 100%.
100p,
And,
baby.
And yeah, I just finished a new album, but that'll have to wait till a little later. So be on the lookout for that.
Damn.
yeah.
Super exciting.
Very exciting.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yeah, I kind of have worn down, so I'm like out of the energy for the big shout outs. I'm sorry.
It's all good, man.
Sorry.
It was so good to chat. We touched on like some really fucking cool things, so I really appreciate it.
That's what we try to do here.
We are
man.
honored to have you
we
here, man.
try to do that.
Chris, do you want to go next?
Do I have any shout outs? Yes. So I suppose, I'm not sure when it's being released, but I'll be on that Winter Quilt remix album for O Discordia, and that's also featuring myself on that album, along with Alpha Chrome Yayo, and also Eyeliner,
a lot of good
and
things about that guy.
Donor Lens, and also Cell Shade, and also Hong Kong Express, I believe. And then also coming out soon should be, I guess that Vapor Pop thing is still coming out soon, right? I have a song on that. I'm working on a song with Frank Job C, and I'm also just got Pop Culture just tapped me and asked me to do a remix for the a remix of the 2020 live, that album that he just came out with. He asked me if wouldn't mind if we could do a remix, and I jumped at that because I love that album.
Pop Culture is a very skilled guy. We're
also probably there's a bunch of other things I think that are coming out sooner or later, and but until I organize them, I've shouted them out before, but I'm gonna stop that until they're like fully organized and ready to go.
Hell yeah. So we have a event coming up pretty soon. Hasn't been announced yet, but it's something I'll be partaking in. I don't really know how much information is out there. It's a live stream. Don't really want to say anything unless I know I'm in the clear, but a lot of good homies participating. I'm going to be putting down a 30-minute Witch House DJ set.
Holy shit!
Something
Wendy's
I've never been able to
put
put
shit out over that.
Dude,
oh
it
my
is
God.
brutal. Anyone who tuned into my Insta or my Facebook last night got to hear a little bit, and it is brutal. And I have never been able to pull off a Witch House
that
set.
on your Facebook. You posted that. I saw some of that, man.
You're too kind. Yeah, man. I'm trying to make the blends work, and I'm excited about that. I think it's okay to say Ming Curry is going to be doing my visuals.
Ming Curry's, that's another thing. Oh, that I can announce too. Ming Curry is doing an album, a music album. He's got some great music, and I contributed vocals to one of the songs that he's doing. So, I guess I can shout that out
Can't
as well.
wait to see.
But anyway, back to you.
The event is being organized by Be Careful. Hopefully, I'm not saying anything I'm not allowed to say, but very, very excited about this. And there's going to be a lot of special interview segments. I actually got roped in thanks to Molo360, who is a very dear friend.
Love
runs
her.
The best
She's
Vaporwave
the
podcast.
Best. Shout out to Molo.
The real
does so
one,
much for so many
Molo.
people.
So I've got that working. I'm working on that. I'm also working on a set after that for an extremely big event that's going to span the globe. That's going to span the entire community, probably in late May. Don't want to say any names. Don't want to give any details, but it is in the works, and it is going to be stupid awesome.
Well, you, sir, are the Steve Aoki of Vaporwave, so
I'm sure you are already aware, and thank you. You're too kind. Coming up next on the podcast, we have Mr. Tech Honors, the gentleman who rated us tonight, thanks to 100p, Monday, April 12 at same time, same place. Tech Honors on Hot Takes, y'all. So everybody say thank you to Pete. And good night.
Thank you to Pete.
We appreciate
Can we put
him
like a
tuning
1?
in.
What do we want to put in the chat for Pete right now? F or a 1, or what should we do?
F in the chat for FM Skyline.
F in the chat for FM Skyline.
We appreciate you, man, letting us pick your brain. I know it's late over there on the East Coast.
Yes.
So good. I had a great time. Thanks, guys.
I very much enjoyed talking to you.
Love you.
Thanks
love
again.
You, Pete. Miss you, Pete. I can't wait to party with you in real life and just hang out and have some beers, man. We're going to have a great time. We'll get some pineapple pizza with jalapenos on it as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's right.
Thanks again also to Tech Honors who rated us tonight, and Indie Advent, our first guest and dedicated consultant who is recording. That's it for our show. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and see you in a couple of weeks on Hot Takes.
Mwah.
Let's get those flames. Let's get that air horn. Do we have anyone to raid, guys? Anyone in the chat have a recommendation?
Ask the chat if there's someone to raid. Is Pacific Plaza sometimes, sometimes Sleep Pattern is doing stuff over there. Who should we raid?
Damn, son.
I just clicked off the screen, so I don't know what they're saying.
3D Blast? 3D Blast is streaming?
Yeah, Raid 3D Blast.